All right, guys, Eric here back out with Mr. Trevor Salzman. Trevor, appreciate you being here.
Good to be here.
We've got a good one today on early extension and our new favorite early extension drill for 2024. This is one that I saw Trevor do during one of his live sessions in response to helping a gentleman fix his early extension. And I want to make sure you guys have seen this or will see it. We haven't done this before. And frankly, I haven't really spent much time on this. So I'm interested to hear how you work through it. If you guys haven't seen early extension before, right, just to be clear, we're talking this inclination I have at setup, me doing something to lose that during the downswing, right? Too much standing up, and the inconsistencies that'll follow from there. So a lot of guys trying to fix that on the way down. If you can kind of guide us through what the drill is, Trevor, and how to do it and what the benefits are.
Yeah, so I think some of the biggest issues that I see and where I came up with this as a drill is, firstly, we've got to understand what is the cause and effect for why is the person early extending. Generally, somebody is early extending because they don't have enough space to be able to swing the golf club. So if I used me as an example right here, I'm going to do this here in just a sec. So if I have, let's say I have my trail foot and I have it angled straight ahead right here. One thing that this makes it hard to do is the more that I angle this in, I close off this hip socket. So now it's very hard for me to turn this to be able to create space right there. So one thing is if I keep the knees too flexed and I keep the hip socket closed out like this, I can have great structure up here, but either A, I'm going to have to go this direction for contact, or B, if I come down from the inside, my arms are going to get stuck behind me. So if my arms get stuck behind me, where am I going to create space? I'm going to jump, I'm going to early extend, and this is going to start to activate and move the hands, I would say, too early as a counter reaction to the up that we have. So where I came up with this drill, and I think it's a big thing out there that a lot of people struggle with, is they don't create enough turn from the trail side with their hip, which gives them space for their arms to swing. So the first part of this drill is if you take your feet, and this is an area that you actually struggle with, I would take your foot, if we called this 0 right here, and I would angle this out, let's say 10, 20, 25, 30-ish degrees. I would angle this out. So now, if I apply pressure to this part of my foot, this pressure has the ability to push back towards the center of me, which is also helping get my hip moving, which is now creating space and creating a runway for my arms to move. So this is a difficult area, I think, for a lot of players, because it's really hard to come up with a feel, and it's very difficult at times to come up with a station to do this, because this is down in the hitting area right here. So what I do is I'll take a ball and I put it underneath the ball of my foot right here. And very important when we say this here, this is underneath the ball of my foot, but this is not me just rocking pressure back into my heel. I'm using the pressure here underneath the ball, and I'm using that as a platform to push my trail hip back this way. And where this gets really cool in the downswing now is when I have that pressure here, I'm still using that pressure to keep my knee behind where my foot is. So that's helping me drive pressure forward towards the target. That would be taking care of some of my tilt right here. And as well, that is getting a runway that is giving me space to accelerate the arms and the club from the proper direction and plane right there. So I love using this as a feel as I push back here. And now as I start down, I'm keeping that pressure pushed back so that I'm not rolling over to the front side of the ball, where now you can see my knee has come forward too much, and now I'm in the same predicament I had whether I created that turn or not. So I keep that pressure non-stop, push back, and now what type of posture am I in? Now I'm maintaining my spine inclination, and I have a runway for my arms to move.
We're gonna partner with Lab Golf, and I wanted to try these putters out on the golf course and literally putted the best that I have in my entire life. I've been seeing the ball go in the hole for the first time in a long time. I'm freaking confident, on the greens for the first time in a long time. The game's a lot more fun, and I didn't change anything. I've been practicing more. I didn't change my stroke. I literally just changed putters. That is so exciting for me. We're gonna partner with Lab Golf and Sam as a thank you to them, and hopefully to get you one of these in your bag as well. Maybe I know that you're gonna love these, so I think the value is incredible. It's an investment, right? They're not cheap, but with the 10% off code and with how long I think you're gonna use these, I think the value is really high. I'm sure you spend a lot of money on drivers and things like that are expensive too, but I'm gonna plan on using these for the next like 10 years. So when you do the math that way, I think it's a freaking steal. And you want to putt better and you're looking for a putter. I've never used a putter that's this good ever in my life, and I know that you're going to love it as well. Lab Golf will be in the description down below. Use code Cogorno, get 10% off. I hope that you'll try one and that you'll be as excited about your putting and your game as I am about mine. And you just hit that like 2-yard little draw like it's like a freaking machine. So it's interesting when you come through this, because a lot of the videos when we talk about why someone early extends, like, I guess first, someone's early extending typically to fix something earlier.
Yep.
And we talk a lot in the videos about people trying to fix, you know, the shaft getting too steep or the face being too open, as some reasons people early extend. But this is more so about they don't have enough room to swing their arms, and so they're early extending sort of as a byproduct of that. Very interesting.
Yeah, that would be early extending as a byproduct to try and create space to be able to accelerate.
They have nowhere to
this
go.
now. If I'm right here, so we could say, so Jim Furyk hit the ball from right here.
Yeah.
Okay, so Jim Furyk was like this, not a long hitter. He just chose to continue rotating. Very straight hitter, but didn't create a lot of speed because of that.
Yeah.
Because the arms are trapped behind him. You look at how short his radius is. He's here like this.
There's also not a lot of Jim Furyks.
And there's not a lot of Jim Furyks either.
Right.
And so if this is an area that you struggle with, I would say make sure firstly that you have created enough space, and this trail side is now has the ability to push pressure back towards the center of you versus you moving into it, because now once I move into this and I increase this knee flex, this is very difficult to extend out of because all of my mass and all of my pressure is here on my trail side now. This is pushing towards where I'm the strongest, which should be the center of me. Now I've got space. This can come down. I'm going to keep that pressure pushing this way. And so you can see when I work this up here and I start back down, my knee is not crossing my toe line.
Right.
So the only time that my foot is going to roll off this golf ball is after I've hit it. Now I can move it this direction towards the target right there.
Can you demonstrate one more for us, and then I want to hop in there and try a couple like that.
Absolutely. So I'd be in here. So I work this, I push this back, and so I'd be here.
Gosh, that looks good. Man, doesn't that look good? Holy moly. Okay, let me hop in there.
What I love about it is somebody like me who's been trapped their whole life with my arms behind me. I feel like I have more space than I've ever had in my life, and I can do whatever I want with the golf club from there.
And that's probably a lot of you watch and have that same sort of sensation or some version of that where it feels like you've got nowhere to go, and you make some swings like this where you actually have space. It's going to feel really good. It's going to feel really athletic. So golf ball here, golf ball underneath my foot. I have this flared out.
Yep.
Right, as part number one.
Perfect.
And I haven't done this before, so let's let's kind of walk through this like I haven't done it because I haven't. So this is underneath the toe, sort of the ball of my foot. Foot's flared out.
So if we watch Eric's knee line here now, he's going to work. He's going to start do his takeaway. Now he's going to push that back. Now as he starts down, he's going to push from that same point. You can see how much space do your arms have now.
Yeah, I got a ton of room.
So now when we have space, do you feel like you could accelerate from there? Or do you feel like you have to slow down and stand up?
I feel like I can do whatever I want.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then as I'm going from here, I'm going to keep kind of pushing off that ball into my finish.
Yeah, and that's going to keep your pressure moving forward.
And we're going to show some players on the screen throughout this video. Obviously, some of them where the lines drawn down their back, just as a simple visual. As we're doing this and not standing up and really extending, the general simple idea is that you're maintaining, that inclination through the ball. And the other thing we're going to show, like Trevor mentioned in there, is the line up through the toe line. And we were talking before about this, and Trevor's like, yeah, like keeping the knee inside that toe line, like you'll see some Max Homa, some Adam Scott, got a couple other guys on there. He said literally every good ball striker does that, right? The knee doesn't go forward of the toe line. As soon as the knee goes forward, the hip's in, the torso's back, there's my early extension.
Yeah.
As this knee stays inside of that, I'm gonna get to drill here in a moment. As the knee stays inside of that and the kneecap's working in towards the left and the hip's working forward, that's a big piece in that side bend and maintaining inclination.
That's what helps you keep the pelvis back as a counterbalance. So when the pelvis is back, that's what gives me room to keep my upper body in this inclination.
Yeah.
Working down.
That's
and
all
around.
coming from the leg and the knee and the foot.
Yeah, because if the knee goes forward, the hip goes forward, well, the reaction to the hip going forward is the neck and the chest go backwards.
And then I've got to lengthen everything to get down to the ball.
And then we've
Inconsistent contact.
Then we have a timing element we have to throw into the mix.
All right, here we go. So ball's underneath the ball of my foot. Foot's flared. So I'm going to push off that more is the sensation. I'm going to do just kind of like 50% speed here to start with.
Mm-hmm.
So give this a try.
And that was a really good first effort.
I mean, that's about as good as I can hit it. I know Trevor's swing looked pretty good, but that should be looking pretty good there too, if I do say so myself. So that honestly, for the first time ever doing this, that felt very easy. I mean, I struck the ball really well, which is nice, and I hit it good. It felt really easy. I definitely feel a sense of, as an early extender my whole life, my brain wants to get the pressure forward towards the toes. I'm very aware of it now the ball's under,
Yep.
which I think is your whole point of this. I'm very aware of my brain wanting to go this way and push forward. And I feel like as I'm pushing off of that and creating space, definitely a lot more room for my arms. But I'm very aware of like, hey, my brain definitely wants to go this way versus me pushing off of that. Let me try that one more again. So same sort of feels. I mean, that feels great.
That's awesome.
I also feel a noticeable difference as I'm working through this in like a lengthening of my trail leg and my quad compared to me being sort of in this sort of framework through the ball. Okay, let me do one more there. So ball underneath the foot, huh? I've done various versions of this over the past years, but I haven't done this specifically. Ball underneath the foot, foot is flared, push off of it, create space of the hip. Feels like it's going up and back.
Yep, the hip depth is in.
Trail side is around.
You, and then you maintain that hip depth.
And that hip depth on my right side working around, like that's going to help me get some depth of the arm stance and club.
Yeah, that's what's going to help us also as well. That takes care of the arm structure and the direction that the arms can now move.
Yeah, okay. Arms are deep, body's turned. I've got a ton of room then from here to keep those from inside. Push off the ball, push off the ball. Yeah, I mean, those all feel really nice. Anything, Trevor?
Yeah, I think
Best
the
shot
only
today, like,
the only thing that that was awesome. That was awesome.
Trevor, no big Bill Belichick. Go ahead.
I think the only thing that I would add to that is, again, when you've got the ball underneath the foot right there, is adding this push, and for the viewers at home, exaggerate some of these to where, like, so when you watch Eric as he exaggerates this, we're not going to see the knee work out in front of that. So he's driving that down to impact. There we go. And so that would be more of our look right there. So you can see where the knee is in relation to the toe line right here.
Never going out that way. And that's a good point too. When we're talking about the knee staying inside the toe line, like you'll see Trevor, do you want to grab like an alignment rod or something to put in? Like if we were to put a little extra, I'll hit one more. We're going to put something in for that. So push off, push off. Man, does that feel nice, huh?
Yeah, so I think a great way for viewers at home as well is where I'll put this is if you set up there.
This is just a different way to get the knee from going this way? Okay.
So I'll take a stick from this side and I'll throw that on the knee, and our goal is to keep the knee inside of that now.
You put it this close?
I put it that close.
I'm gonna go out here a little bit more. Freaking guy's trying to kill me. Holy I'm thinking I'm getting this down the toe line. He's got to be in for my kneecap. So I'm feeling the same thing inside of that. Okay.
There you go. Yep.
So realistically, I mean, I moved it to like a club head.
It's about a club head in front of the knee. Yes.
Okay.
A club head in front of the knee, in line with the knee.
Just put a stick in front of the ground there. And I'm trying to feel when I'm doing this, the same, keep the knee inside of that, get the kneecap and kind of right leg, right hip turn to the target.
100%.
I kind of like that, guys, when I'm doing this. The kneecap, the quad, and the hip, to me, all feel like they're like pushing forward towards the target, getting even with my left hip. Okay, let's try this same thing here. So push the leg, push the leg.
Best one.
Yeah, I mean, that feels really nice. It also makes me aware, like, I'm not doing this in my normal swing, and I need to do some more of this.
Absolutely.
Like,
Same
immediately
with me.
aware of the difference there.
This is such a good
Gosh.
visual, but I like the ball underneath there because now it gives you a place to be able to feel where the pressure, where you can move pressure to. You can use that as a leverage
Oh,
point.
totally. That makes all the difference in the world.
It's huge for awareness.
Yeah,
huge,
it's huge
for awareness.
It's a good way to put it. Yeah, those feel really good. All right, so this happens every time you come. There's like a thing or two I'm like, gosh, I'm not doing this in my swing. I got to start practicing this a little bit more, and it feels so good. So early extension, sort of a different take today, right? Like we've done a lot of videos before, guys, you may have seen. You have to get things correct earlier. And Trevor and I have talked about this a bunch, like the backswing depth, getting the downswing plane and club face, like all those things are going to make your brain early extend if you get them off, set up posture. But if you can make sure things earlier are in good shape, and you said this when you were doing this video, like make sure you do the things earlier, get good turn and depth to create space for your arms. But the concept of you early extending, because you don't have room for your arms to go, I think is something that'll be a light bulb for some people.
Take away reasons to do it. And that's what this would do. Okay? So take away the reason that you would have to early extend to hit the golf ball.
I like that.
So if you create this space and you keep this back, this no longer makes sense.
Love that. All right, guys, any questions as always, leave a comment down below. Early extension, we'll put Trevor's info in the link down in the description. Online in-person lessons, Cogorno Golf will be on there. Appreciate you guys watching.